Good afternoon and welcome to the March Economic Business Forum hosted by the Strategic Economic Development Corporation, or SEDCOR. Just a reminder to turn off your cell phones or pagers. I don't do that, I just mute mine because if it's a job, I'm leaving. My name is Rich Duncan. I'm the owner of Rich Duncan Construction. I'm also proud to be the chair of SEDCOR this year. When I was thinking about what I was going to say today, it occurred to me that SEDCOR and Rich Duncan Construction are very similar in many ways. We're both builders. However, we aren't the only builders in this room. Together, we're working to help build strong communities. Each of us in our own way are dedicated to providing the community's framework to be the place where people can earn family wages, purchase a home, send their kids to good schools, participate in community activities, and contribute to our local economy. To achieve that objective, it takes all of us working together, each of us sharing our own talents. This spring, I encourage each of us to do something to help build a strong foundation of community, whether it's volunteering for a nonprofit organization, school, or church, sponsoring a youth team, shopping at a local store, or eating at a local restaurant, or attending a meeting and learning what's happening in your city, school district, or even the county. I want to thank each of you for your work and what you do to serve our communities. Before I turn it over to our guest speakers, I want to take a moment and thank the following 2017 Economic Business Forum lunch sponsors: MAPS Insurance Services, Express Employment Professionals, Chemeketa Community College, White Oak Construction, Kaiser Permanente, Wells Fargo Bank, Sherman, Joni and Hoyt, and First American Title. Our next business forum lunch will be held back here at the Broadway Commons on April 12th. Please watch for the announcement at the end of this month. Let's give all our sponsors a round of applause, and specifically employment professionals. Patricia and the Express Employment Professionals are today's sponsor. I'd like to bring up Patricia now and introduce her, Patricia Callahan Bowman, owner of the Express Employment Professionals.
Good afternoon. It's nice to see so many people here. This is going to be a great program. We're a full-service staffing company, and we are locally owned, so that's the value to this community, and I agree with everything that Rich said in terms of what we all should be doing as businesses and participants to help the economy grow. I just came back from our International Leadership Conference for Express in San Francisco with over 1,000 people there that are franchise owners from all over the country, and everybody's having the same issues that we are, so that's comforting in some ways. But Express had commissioned a survey that they presented at this conference, and talking about kind of the economy and why we are where we are. The traditional analysis would tell you that an economy is doing well the unemployment rate is very, very low, and that's your go-to metrics usually for deciding how the economy is going, and yet we're not feeling comfortable with that. The unemployment rate is under 5%, the lowest rate since 2007, and the rates have been kind of ticking up a little bit since about October of 2009. Our conventional indicators are good, so what's going on? Why are things not the way we think they should be? And this particular survey came up with 4 points. The lower labor force participation rate distorts the unemployment numbers. Wages have been very slow to recover during this recession, and the concerns of inequality are so high. And number 4, the recession of 2009 changed the way that businesses think about how they do business and how they operate. Employers know that the real rate of unemployment is quite a bit higher than 4.9% or under that 5%. And the problem is that people who are not looking for work are not counted in those statistics. So what can we do about that according to this particular national survey? Getting more workers off the sidelines and back to work and in the workforce and good paying jobs. They're going to have their skills improved to be able to match those jobs that are available. Raising wages, not artificially with minimum wage laws, but through a growing economy. relieving business of regulations and barriers to their success, and encouraging businesses to start spending some of their cash and putting it back into the economy. So it's my pleasure to introduce our speakers today who share our concerns and are in a position to actually have an impact on our economy. So our first speaker is Kevin Cameron. And I think probably everybody knows Kevin. He's a commissioner and was appointed to the Board of Commissioners in June of 2014 and was elected to his first term in November of 2014. He previously served the Oregon House of Representatives, representing the residents of House District 19 from 2005 to 2014. Commissioner Cameron has over 40 years of experience in the hospitality industry as an employer, manager, entrepreneur, and business owner. He has been an active member of the Salem community and has served volunteer positions with Morningstar Community Church, Battle Creek Little League, OSU Alumni Board, and Corbin University, among others. Commissioner Cameron holds a Bachelor of Science in Business and Marketing with a minor in science from Oregon State University. In 2011, he received an honorary doctorate from Corbin University. You're up.
Thanks, Patricia. Well, I guess everybody knows me because in my 12-year history of politics, in fact, I didn't get a list of approved jokes to start out with today. I've never gone from the top of the fold to the bottom of the fold to the opinion piece in 1 week. So you do know me for whatever reason. It's great to be here with you today. I want to thank SEDCOR, Tammy, Nick, Chad, all the people at SEDCOR for the work that you do. It's really important work. We get to support that work at Marion County. To the board members that are here from SEDCOR, and to all of you as guests and business people that are here today, thank you for what you do to help our community grow economically and stay solid. As the past chair of the board, I'm here to report that the state of your county is in good hands because you have a new chair. Yeah, right. It's in good hands with Sam. No, seriously, the state of the county, if you look at it through the lens of our budget, it is in good shape. We're focusing, or we're forecasting another 4% general fund increase in this next fiscal year. If you equate that to the state, they are forecasting about over an 8% increase over the next 2 years. And I want you to know we are not going to raise your taxes to be able to meet the expenses that we have in Marion County. So we have an equivalent increase of what the state's looking at. However, your budget, your Marion County budget, is in good shape, and I'll share a little bit more about that. You can be proud that your tax revenues have been managed in an efficient way, and I want to give a lot of credit to staff. John Latimer is here today, Jan Fritz, our assistant administrator, and many people are here from Marion County staff. We have a great staff that supports us as county commissioners, and I want to acknowledge them right now. Thank you very much. So the future looks bright, but not without challenges. Economic development is leading that future. As we know from being here at SEDCOR, there's a lot of great things that are happening in our communities. But Marion County is the county with the most cities in Oregon. We have 20 cities. And if you take out, I say this all the time, if you take out Salem, Kaiser, and Woodburn, you've got 17 cities that are extremely small and very rural. Those economies still have many challenges to boost their revenues and to help people find jobs in those economies. If you look at the unemployment rate, as we were just talking about. The county budget is mainly about people. We hire a lot of people, over 1,400 employees in Marion County. And the challenge will be this next year, our payroll burden, and those of you that are in business like myself, listen to this number. Our payroll burden is 60% of payroll. How many of you have that? So if you take PERS, for the first time, healthcare costs in Marion County have always been more expensive than PERS. Most people don't realize that. but for the first time, if you look at it, our PERS costs are going to meet our health care costs probably this next year or the next biennium after that. So that's a huge challenge for us in the future. I'd like to go through some highlights. The board has made over 2 years ago some decisions with staff to invest in our infrastructure. With the additional resources that we have, this isn't fancy or fluffy stuff, but it's important that we are doing it for the long-term health of your county and Marion County. First of all, you know that the courthouse and Courthouse Square were both forced upgrades, right? One had a truck drive through it and the other one was falling apart. Those are done. Those buildings are in pretty darn good shape. The Jail and Work Release Center, and Sheriff Myers is here with us today, we've invested in the HVAC system, the roof, and painting. We just completed our health building remodel. They moved back in October, I believe it was, of this year. And that building was built in the 70s and is now a great place if you get a chance to go visit that. We still have some outside lipstick to put on the parking lot and some other things, but that was another investment that we've made. The next thing we're going to be doing is the Sheriff's Central District and Parole and Probation Office. We'll be starting, actually there's flags out there right now. It's going to be out on the jail campus between the animal shelter. That will be a new building and well-deserved. We've been in temporary buildings out there for the last 25 years in the Parole and Probation Department. We'll also be doing a new juvenile courtroom on the Center Street campus, and that will help us in the long run with efficiencies and security, as we'll only need one security. And then we will remodel the juvenile administration building, and that will be approximate completed in August of 2018. We borrowed $9.9 million in 2013 for helping with this infrastructure, and we borrowed another $9.9 million in 2016 at a 1.99% interest rate fixed. We'll use cash equivalents of almost $7 million to help all these projects be completed. And I lost my timer. I don't know how much time I got left. 5 minutes? Perfect. So I want to talk a little bit about me, because it's all about me, as Sam knows. No, seriously, some areas, we divide up areas of focus. And the areas of focus that I get to, fortunately, I'm blessed to be able to do this because I love it and I'm passionate about it, is the economic development areas. And I want to focus on the North Santiam River Canyon. I think last year I spoke about this. The Little North Fork, first area is Little North Fork Parks. We've been working on that for 2-3 years now. Sam and I were up there last night for a standing room crowd at Camp Cascade. It's our 4th meeting with that community. We have our Public Works Department has brought in over $8 million in federal grants to help improve that corridor, to fix the slide that's up there, to improve the safety of those roads. And we are improving our parks up there. We've expanded parking. We are going to institute a parking fee. We were the only facilities up there that didn't charge. And guess what? Who comes to those facilities if they don't have to pay? That'll be started. We've added a deputy, thanks to the sheriff. We added a assigned deputy to the Little North Fork in the Canyon last June. Has really helped those citizens up there. And so that's a project that we will continue to focus on. We'll have meetings up there like we did here at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, and get feedback from the people that live up there. And I know maybe some of you here have property up there, and you'll appreciate what we're trying to do for you. The second thing in the waste is in the canyon, we have the wastewater projects that are going on. We did a wastewater study for potential sewer products up the North Santiam River Canyon. Many people help with that, and there's a plan in place moving forward with the communities, but it's going to be a long haul, and about, I think the estimates were, I'm looking at Renata, I think it was like $28 million to actually get these sewer systems put in place. Those communities will not grow like they could until they get the right sewer and water systems up there. The last thing I want to highlight in the canyon is the Detroit Lake Marina projects. This is an example. I see Jonathan from Congressman Schrader's office. James LaBarre is not here because he's ill today, from the governor's office. We all took a boat tour. We had Congressman Schrader last summer out on Detroit Lake. And this is an example where we all came together and the county convened this meeting, and we are now in 2 phases where those marinas will have increased gangplanks, so during the low water years, they'll be able to access low water, and you as a citizen and those people that enjoy that recreational area. The second phase, we will actually be digging out underneath those marinas so that during low water years, those marinas will be able to continue to operate to help the economic stability of the lake and that whole region. So we're really excited about that. And it's not an easy task. It is moving mountains to be able to go through all those permits to get that done. Economic Advisory Board, there's 19 members of that. Some of you are here today. I want to thank you. Just yesterday, we had a Rural Economic Development Conference in Kaiser. We had over 100 participants from 5 counties that came to that conference. Was anybody here at that conference yesterday? Great conference, wasn't it? I mean, there's a lot of good things. I took away a couple things I'm going to follow up on. The Oregon Garden, and Sam will probably talk a little bit more about this, but economic development, our bonds will be paid off at the end of this year at the Oregon Garden, which will free up about $500,000 a year for further economic development investments. And some of those investments that we do now is we support SEDCOR, we support Travel Salem, and we support Grow Oregon. Another area I want to highlight is your Oregon State Fairgrounds. They have a great partnership with Marion County. We have the Marion County Fair there, and we need to make sure that that's successful. Am I over time? I'm right at time. Good. I'm stealing Sam's time then. We got plenty of time today. I know we do. I want to share this with you because the Oregon State Fair has been kind of a stepchild, and the legislature kept punting it and kicking it around. And when I was there my last 2 years, we actually got a bill together with Senate Bill 7, which took the Oregon State Fair away from a state agency and actually made it a quasi-public-private agency. It was costing about $1.7 million a year to keep the Oregon State Fair running, and that wasn't investing in any kind of infrastructure. I'm happy to report to you that the last 2 years, the operational cost of the Oregon State Fair have been in the black. We have actually had a positive cash flow, and we are investing over $2 million in bonding and infrastructure there for roof repairs and other things that need to be done. We have a good CEO, and that's a great asset to our community for SEDCOR and for all of us, that Expo Center and Fairgrounds is successful. The last thing I want to say is that I want to give a shout out to James LaBarre and the Governor's Office for the Regional Solutions team that has helped us on many projects. One of those that's very important to this community is the CTE Center that Salem Kaiser is doing for us, the Detroit Lake Canyon issues that I just talked about. A little teeny thing called the Gates Trail that if you ever get up behind the Gates Fire Department, you're going to see a new trail down to the river. And then rail feasibility, which is a long-term project to help us with our transportation. So in closing, the state of the county is stable and moving forward, not without challenges, as you'll hear more about from my colleagues, but with your support and leadership, we'll continue to make this a great place to live, work, and play. Thanks.
Thank you for good news. Appreciate that. Our next speaker is Janet Carlson. Commissioner Carlson was elected to the Board of Commissioners in November of 2002 and re-elected in 2006, 2010, and 2014. Her accomplishments include working with the Fair Board to promote the county fair and leading the 150 miles for 150 years countywide relay. As a commissioner, she focuses on public safety and health care. Commissioner Carlson is a past president of the Association of Oregon Counties and served as a state representative in the Oregon legislature in 2001 to 2002. She taught French and social studies in public schools for 10 years and was a budget analyst for the state of Oregon Commission for Children and Families. She is a graduate of Willamette University, holds a master's degree in political science from Brigham Young University, and a PhD in education and public policy from the University of Oregon.
Get this down just a little bit so I can see you. Let's see. Much better. So first of all, thank you all for being here today, and want to thank SEDCOR for hosting us as they always do. It's a wonderful event. As Patricia mentioned, I focus mostly on public safety and healthcare, and that's what I'm going to focus my remarks on today, along with a little bit about the Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative. We do so much in Marion County. We have 15 departments. We have lots and lots and lots of services. We can't do justice to it, even with 10 minutes each in this presentation today. So I would encourage you to take a look at the lovely books that are on your tables that will give you a much larger flavor of what we do. So let's start in with public safety. And my first topic is marijuana, which I know is on the top of everyone's list. It's a topic of great interest here in Oregon. After the statewide election legalizing recreational marijuana, the legislature passed a bill that allowed local governments to ask voters what they wanted in their local jurisdictions. And in Marion County, that statewide initiative had lost very narrowly. It was 51.56% no vote. So for the first time in many years, the commissioners decided that we were going to put the measure on the ballot. And in fact, we split it into 3 different measures. The first one, should medical marijuana businesses be allowed in unincorporated Marion County? The second, should recreational businesses be allowed in unincorporated Marion County? And then if the voters said yes to 1 and 2, would you allow Marion County to collect a 3% tax, the local option tax? So I was betting on all 3 passing because there was absolutely no campaign on this, all right? Commissioners put it on the ballot. We spoke about it in various places, but there wasn't a PAC. We didn't raise money. There was a little PAC on the yes side that started after the ballots went out, and so you might have seen a few billboards as you drove down Lancaster of people saying vote yes on these measures, but basically there wasn't a lot of attention at the election. Well, the results were the medical measure did pass, 50.54% yes. It was just barely passed. Recreational was no, even more so than the statewide election, 52.04%. And then the tax, yes, 75.76%. Unfortunately, we can't collect the tax unless 1 and 2 pass. So the one tax measure in my long tenure as a county commissioner that, I guess there were 2 because we had the OSU extension one. So it really means that there's going to be virtually no facilities in unincorporated Marion County. Now, this doesn't affect people's personal use that they got, the rights that they got under the statewide initiative. And it doesn't affect the other jurisdictions. Every other jurisdiction made those decisions on their own. So Salem, for example, and Kaiser did different things than Marion County did. Ours is affected more because we have a lot of farmland in Marion County, as you heard, and so this means grow sites and processing plants and those types of things. And so that means that those types of businesses are not allowed in Marion County. And even with medical marijuana, we had 2 dispensaries in that area on the east side. There's about 40,000 people that live kind of in the Lancaster area that are in unincorporated Marion County. We had 2 dispensaries, and I think one of them moved into Salem, and I'm not sure what the second one did because they say they can't make a go of it unless they've combined the 2. So anyway, it's very interesting. There were some other jurisdictions that also prohibited marijuana businesses that their measures passed, Almsville, Mount Angel, and Mill City. And the 3% taxes were approved in Detroit, Donald, Gates, Hubbard, Jefferson, Kaiser, and Salem. So that's your report on marijuana. Now you know. All right. I chair the Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council. I've done that for the last couple of years. Don Frederickson is my vice chair, and he's here in the audience. And our sheriff, Jason Myers, and District Attorney Walt Begla also serve. We have 29 people in all, judges, people from healthcare. Greg Leo, I saw him come in the back as our latest citizen member that has joined the council. And we do a lot of great work on that council. You can be rest assured that your representatives in Marion County and public safety work very closely together, and many of the things that we do are on the cutting edge. We're leading the state in so many ways. One of the things I always talk about every year is our nationally recognized prisoner reentry initiative, the Marion County Reentry Initiative. And this initiative started out working with people coming back into our communities from prison, but has really expanded with justice reinvestment to looking at diverting people with property and drug crimes, those that are what would you call lower level property and drug crimes, from going to prison and actually being treated in the community. We have about 3,600 people right now on parole and probation that are managed by our Community Corrections Division at Marion County. About 600 people a year come back from our prisons to Marion County. And the lion's share of those, 95+%, are from Marion County. And if they're not from Marion County, they have to get permission from Marion County to come back. So all the rumors about what we're taking everybody else's people, that doesn't occur anymore. Our recidivism rate, recidivism being defined, and the definition's changing, but we're still going with the old definition, of a person doesn't commit a new felony crime within 3 years of release. It was 36% in 2002, dropped to 14% in 2014 because of the good work that is being done. And then it's bumped up just a little bit in the last couple years, but it's a cohort-based measure. So we are now in our public safety initiatives working on a number of things. One is called Stepping Up. This is a national initiative, and it's really focused on diverting people with mental illness from our county jails. I just had a meeting with our sheriff and district attorney yesterday, and we're going to create a work group, and we've passed a resolution as a board to work on that. Jail is not a good place for people who are mentally ill. It's not designed to help them with their issues. They really don't belong there. It takes precious space for the people that really need to be in jail, and so we think that there are other options in the community that we can work on that will help with that. We're also replicating a program called LEAD, Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. This program is out of Seattle. Paige Clarkson, who is the Deputy District Attorney, is leading a work group, no pun intended, to replicate that program in Marion County. What we're looking at there is that there are a number of people that we see on the streets of Salem primarily, and some out on Lancaster, that are what they call treatment resistant. So these people have very severe alcohol and drug problems. They don't respond well to going into treatment. They don't really want to go into treatment. And what Seattle has done is they have created a program where they send navigators out on the streets to work with these people and to entice them into treatment types of situations. And they've had great success with this program. And so we're hoping that by putting this program together, we're going to be able to make a dent in some of the people that you see on the streets of Salem that need help. The third thing that we're working on is a transitional housing facility. We, in this very room in October, had our 8th annual Giving People a Second Chance breakfast. We do that annually on the Marion County Reentry Initiative, and our focus this year was on housing and the problems that we have with housing and homelessness. About half of the people that come out of prison have nowhere to live. We are working on a transitional housing facility. I've been working on this since 2011. And my folder in my computer says 2011 to 2014. See, I thought it would be done in 2014, but it's not. So we're continuing to work on it in 2017. So we've got a design. We know how much it costs. It's about $1.1 million, and we have $1.2 million in our Section 32 fund in our Marion County Housing Authority treasury, if you'll call it. The only catch is that we have to get HUD to approve a waiver so that we can use that money for this purpose. So Sam just signed off on the letter a few weeks ago. I went back to Washington, D.C., and I had the chance to talk with the people that are going to receive the letter and explain to them the great work that we're doing. I was very favorably received, so keep your fingers crossed, because I think we might have a solution to be able to get this transitional housing facility finally done. I'm so excited. The last thing I would say about the Public Safety Council is every so many years the council goes out and talks to the community. So we went out to every neighborhood association in Salem and Kaiser, minus maybe one or two, and we went all around the county to Silverton, to Stayton, to Jefferson, to Mill City, all over the place, doing public safety forums. And we wanted to go to where the people were rather than inviting the people to come to us. If you've been to community forums where you try to get people to come to you, you get, I call the same 7 people that sit in the front row. So what I want to do is go into where people are already meeting and talk to them. And we compiled all of the notes. But the one fun thing that we did in addition to that for Salem, because Salem's really difficult to get people to come to a forum, is we did a telephone town hall, which I had done maybe once before in a political campaign context, but we actually did this, and Jolene Kelly, who's here, helped us set it up. We had more than 1,500 people on the line when we started out with this telephone town hall, and we had our Sheriff District Attorney, Jerry Moore, Police Chief of Salem, John Teague, Police Chief of Kaiser, Faye Fagel, Juvenile Director, and I can't remember, a couple other people that were there, and then we just fielded questions that came in from the public. And after 45 minutes, we still had 100 people on the line. I mean, how many community forums would you have where 100 people would show up to talk about public safety issues in Marion County. So we figured it was a great success, and we want to try it again. Jolene and I were just talking yesterday about how we might be able to do something like that again. So I'll very quickly touch on healthcare and the Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative. I've had the privilege to serve as the chair of the board of directors of Willamette Valley Community Health, which is the coordinated care organization for Marion and Polk counties. So this group manages the Medicaid benefit. So these are people who are on the Oregon Health Plan for this area. We have just a little over 90,000 members on the Oregon Health Plan in these two counties. And our goal is to integrate primary care, behavioral, or what they call behavioral health or mental health, and dental care for these members. We have a fantastic group of people that meets every month, and a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. And I noticed Cheryl Nestor Wolf and James Parr. Cheryl was the first vice chair, I believe, of the board of directors, and now James serves on the board, and I get a chance to meet with him every month. And I appreciate Salem Health and the work that they do in helping make that coordinated care organization really work. I would say there's a lot of uncertainty right now at the federal level, particularly around health care and what's going to happen with regard to Medicaid. And I think that you can kind of break the Affordable Care Act into two buckets. One bucket is what happens with the business side of it and the Cadillac tax and, you know, people signing up for health care and requiring everybody to have health care. And the other side is Medicaid, which the Oregon Health Plan has been around for 20 plus years. And the expansion that we've done in Oregon for Medicaid has done tremendous things for the people that I just talked about in public safety. Our Commander Jeff Wood talked in our most recent Public Safety Council about before the Medicaid expansion, we might be able to serve 30 to 40 people on these grants, and now we serve hundreds of people with a sustainable funding source. So I think, you know, on the one hand, we're looking for improvements in the Affordable Care Act, but we're also wanting to make sure we don't lose the great services that we have for the people that need it so that they can get back in the community and become solid citizens. The other thing that I'm really excited about that we're working on in Marion County is a children's crisis system for behavioral health. We have a new director at the Mid-Valley Behavioral Care Network. Her name is Cindy Becker, and she is, through the System of Care Committee, she is doing just an absolutely stellar job helping with that. Finally, the Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative. You have an excerpt of the strategic plan. We just put a few on each table. There's a website that you can go to get all 27 pages and all 40 recommendations. I wanted to thank the co-chairs. Chuck Bennett has served on that, and prior to him, it was really Anna Peterson's vision to pull this group together and come up with some very thoughtful analysis about what we need to address homelessness in our community. And then Kathy Clark from the City of Kaiser is also one of the co-chairs of the group. We had 4 jurisdictions, 20 members. Our charter was to identify and launch proven strategies to reduce homelessness in the region. We met for a year, 8 subcommittees, massive numbers of people involved, an email list of well over 100 people that got the emails every month. And we also had a group that surveyed and interviewed people. They had 123 interviews that they did. 57 of those were of people who either are homeless or who were recently homeless, so involved the perspectives of people that are living in that situation. And then we approved this very large strategic plan. Really what we learned is that the issue is very complex. There's no silver bullets. What works for one population, like veterans or runaway and homeless youth, is not going to work for victims of domestic violence and seniors. So we need multiple strategies all working together. Housing first, transitional housing, harm reduction models like LEAD, a sobering center, coordinated social services, and we're working on creating a regional structure so that we can continue that work. And I will say, as long as I'm involved with this, that plan will not sit on a shelf. So with that, I'm going to end and turn it back over to Patricia.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sam Bertano. Commissioner Sam Bertano was first appointed to the Board of Commissioners in 2003, elected to his first term in 2004, and elected in 2008, 2012, and 2016. As a commissioner, he focuses on emergency management and transportation. Commissioner Bertano served as a mayor of the city of Sublimity from 1982 to 1993. He also served 20 years as a volunteer firefighter EMT. A businessman in the solid waste disposal industry for more than 30 years. He retired in 2001 from his position as president and general manager of United Disposal Service. He holds a bachelor's degree in business from Oregon State University. Looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you very much, and thanks all for being here. You know, I usually like to, and it's just how it is. I like to start things with a joke. I have to have fun with everything I do, and Kevin's kind of ruined it for everybody. But then I thought I don't have to worry because it's automatic with me. This is great. You're going to like this. All you have to do is listen to me for a little bit, and you're going to say, that guy's a joke. It's all taken care of. So we start on the right foot. I do take special interest in public works, and that goes a long ways, transportation, and I'm also on forest committees. There's a lot of information in the books we've given you on things that have happened with public works, mileage, new coverings on roadways and things, and it was a good year. We made a lot of progress. I wanted to start out with emergency management, and there you are, right here in front of me. I want to thank you. The series on the Cascadia event with Ed Flick and our emergency management department, it really went a long ways to bring it home to groups, individuals, what this means. And Ed really knows the implications of this event, and it was a great way to get that message out, and I bring it up on purpose to keep being aware. A lot of the stuff I have is pretty negative today, and sorry, but that's how it is. And I'll start with timber. Every one of our timber committees I'm on, in State Forest, Forest Service, BLM, it's all about lawsuits. And the theme and the subject is all the same. And I'm sorry if you feel different than I do, but environmental groups have taken over management of these organizations and our forests, and suddenly recreation and environmental issues have supplanted the primary, especially for some grounds, and I'm talking about specific, not parks, not wilderness areas, but ONC and timber production grounds. They've been taken over by environmental and recreational interests at the expense of timber, jobs for people, revenues for counties, cities, schools. So it's just one lawsuit after another. We've won. I'm on the ONC board. We've won lawsuits in the past. We feel real good about it, but nothing changes. But I'm hoping that the policy from the federal government will change, and there'll be a way to compromise, truly save the important grounds, protect species. I'm absolutely there, but not shut our forests down. So I'm working against that. And then something happened right at the end of the Obama administration that just infuriated me and members of our ONC board. Maybe you heard the Siskiyou Monument down Klamath Falls. Oh, it sounds real good. They got a monument. They'll expand the area and save the grounds. The problem is all the grounds that President Obama expanded into were ONC grounds. Well, here's how it works. Those ONC grounds are supposed to be producing timber jobs like I've talked about for county cities. Actually, 5 to 6% of that lost revenue is Marion County's. We share the common funds. So he gave away 6% of our future resource. In Douglas County, they don't even matter. It's 25%, and just gave it away. And here's the thing. We warned him not to, or the administration not to. There was a case in Cave Junction. President Roosevelt wanted to expand the Cave Monument. It's a nice thing. Wouldn't it be nice? However, where you expand the acreage would be ONC grounds. So in 1940, 3 years after the ONC Act, the president was advised that he did not have the authority to do that he couldn't preempt something set aside by Congress for a purpose. Well, that's exactly what happened here with the Siskiyou, so be watching for it. It's not just a casual thing. It's giving away a property that belongs to somebody else and that we need. Now, garbage, you heard it's been a fun thing for me, I have to be honest. I was involved in the garbage industry, and to get to sit on the other side, I don't know how that happens, but it did. And a program, and I've talked about it, bragged about it over these years, been real proud of. We do good things. We We recycle more than anybody else. We take what's left and we create electricity. Then we've been trying to find and have found some uses for the ash, as good as it goes. But there's been a lot of changes. We had some legislation last year that changes the recycling targets. And the problem with that is the easy materials to recycle and the ones that really have a market and do something, they're kind of done. So you're getting into what I call exotics, and they scare me. They also changed. We were given 6% credit in our recycling numbers, and we still should. Where everybody else dumps their waste into the ground and says goodbye, we pull, do all the things I just said and pull that electricity off, and it has to be acknowledged as a superior method. In fact, in the hierarchy of garbage handling, it's higher than just disposal. So we ought to get something. We did raise rate increases. This is where it gets bad. Oh, the first time in almost 30 years. And had to, we've been through this, and I'm sorry about it. My pledge has been and will be, but it scares me to say it, not to have another one. But we have to keep our system working. Just today at our board meeting, we hired a consultant group to really give a serious analysis of where we were. I wanted to get into Public Works, and I let it slide a little bit. It's kind of economic development, but Public Works does planning and building permits. And just so you know, and I wish I would have run this afternoon or this morning like I meant to, we had 7,600 building permits in Marion County. And that's up from, I don't know the number, but it was a trickle. I'm signing subdivision plats on a regular basis where I didn't even see any for a couple years. So there is growth and activity. Oh, we were in Woodburn this last week, and the city administrator announced that there's 1,000 homes in the pipeline in Woodburn. So this is happening, and this growth. How it comes back to garbage and why the study. Suddenly, instead of thinking we have lots of excess capacity, the question comes up, do we? We've had the growth that's coming. We have a booming economy. And instead of, the first sign is, instead of bringing in waste from other counties, the metro area, to keep the burner at full optimum, we haven't been bringing in any. So anyway, this study's going to look at that. Transportation, real quick. There's been 3 focuses lately that have come into mind. Originally, it was Donald first, but we moved it up the line a little bit. It's Newburgh-Dundee bypass. And let me tell you what happened there. And Marion County's been supporting this project for a long time. But this bypass is supposed to go 99 west of Dundee, circle around under Dundee, and Newburgh come back to 99. Well, in reality, it turns out it's a 2-part program. So the first phase, they just come down below Newburgh and then dump out into Marion County. How did that happen? Boy, there's nobody happy. Then it relates to our Donald interchange, a poorly designed, overused, heavy truck traffic. I've been telling people, I'm not making it up, if you're on the freeway in the area, be aware because traffic can just stop instantly as that backs up. If you have to drive through it, it's on a curve. It has to be replaced, but unfortunately, we have to get Newburgh-Dundee, and we've been working to get that second phase to have it loop back up and quit dumping this traffic out into Marion County. It's a big issue with us. There's other plans out there. We've been fighting for all our years, plans where they think it's just swell to bring traffic from the metro area, Yamhill County, even the coast, and run it right through Marion County, coming to the same Donald interchange I've been talking about. Well, how can that work? I guess it looks real easy. You just go through farmland and nobody will care. It's not like going through homes and businesses, but let me tell you, that farmland is our homes and businesses. And as the #1 egg county in the whole state, they better not be looking here. That's all I can tell you. So Donald, to be careful. We're still working on Cordon Road. We want an interchange there. City of Salem has made it a priority. We keep working on it. My time's going away, and I got to tell you something. So they went long. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. So you got 5 minutes. Thank you. We had kind of an impromptu dress rehearsal at the Statesman last night because of scheduling and whatever. They wanted to talk to us about what we're going to say today. And I went off on this last part a little bit, and I'm going to tell you the truth. It didn't go well. I think when I got done, they were kind of stunned. Even my other commissioners were kind of make a little distance. So I've already told you, I don't care if you think I'm a joke, but I don't want you to know that I'm a nut. So I'm going to be real careful and take this down a bit. I actually brought this subject up a few years back in a rant, and I got to tell that story because I'm going long and I don't care now. and I'll get into, but after I got done, then Representative Cameron came up to me outside in the hallway there, and he says something like, so you're really not wanting to be a commissioner much longer? Isn't that right? Yeah, well, here I am, and here I'm going to go again. But the subject that I will take it up, I'm going to go back a little bit. I got sensitized to this subject when I was mayor of Sublimity, and it was time for a periodic plan review. And DLCD came into our community and refused to renew that until we would agree to two things. One, it's off the subject, but I'm real proud of it. They wanted a higher density in Sublimity, where we'd made the minimum lot size 10,000 square feet. And two, what they really wanted was one-lane streets in any new subdivision in Sublimity. And I said, for what? Well, they wanted, and this is the subject, they want to discourage use of cars. And I said, for what? To push them onto some transit system that doesn't really exist, to really mean that you can't live in Sublimity? But that gives you the background a little bit. So I've been following it ever since. And the most recent version comes out in Senate Bill 1059 a few years back. And it's LCD, DLCD. I get them mixed up, but they're the same ones. They went to the legislature and got authority to be kind of Oregon's voice on climate change. And their mandate, they took a goal of theirs that said should remove people from their automobiles or try to get them out, to now it shall. So they got that authority from Senate Bill 1059. That's when I was railing a few years ago. And then since then, I got on a committee that was supposed to set the rules for instituting that. And I'm gonna make it real short. I was nice and they were nice. I told them right from the beginning, look, I'm not buying your stuff. I'm here for two reasons. One, to make sure that whatever you came up with isn't too onerous, and two, that it accomplishes something, and I don't believe that it can. And so went all through it. They come up with these rules, and this is the update I want you to know. And whether you think it really helps, and that's my point. Here, I'll tell you that. They can extrapolate, if we can get so many people out of their cars, this will take so many tons of carbon dioxide out of the air, and that's good, I'm pretty sure. But then when I try to ask them, so what does that mean? Is that like an afternoon forest fire? Does it lower the temperature of Salem by like 1/1000th of a degree? They don't care. And it's all to be able to say they had tried something. And that's what I really object to. If you're gonna mess up people's lives and change the way we live, you better accomplish something. So they now have, this is my last time I talk about, the report is they've got the rules in place to, one, they bind local government, longer than I want to get into right now, but we will be under their mandates. They set targets that aren't reachable, and when those targets aren't reached, they have the means to force that. And it's things like they love congestion, to make it expensive, as difficult to drive as possible. So watch for it. That's the only reason I bring it up. I want people to know right now I'm the one person in the world cares. I hope at least you care a little bit and you watch and realize what's happening, and maybe common sense and pragmatism can someday win out. So I went too long. I'm supposed to wrap up and tell nice things about the future. I'll just say this. We've given you can see how many different subjects we work on. And we're serious about them. We make progress all the time. You have written materials the same way. Probably what I want to leave you with, I just feel blessed every day to be associated with a team that really can get things done and is really serious about what they do. And I hope you realize that too and feel that association with this Marion County. We do lots of good stuff. Thank you.
Great. Commissioners, thank you so much. I see you clearly went over, but I think you guys can work that out. For those that don't know, my name is Chad Freeman, president here at SEDCOR. And before we get to the Q&A, I think Tammy's got the mic around here as well, so if you can flag her down. But I want to tell you thank you, both for your time, for being here, but as much as anything for your passion. I think listening to your bios was instructive to me. You guys have been doing this for years, and many of that is just the hard work that you don't always get the recognition. And for those that don't know as well, they're a great team, and I think you probably saw that today. So thanks again. Thank you very much for being here, and thanks for your work.
You could raise your hand for a question. I will try to squeeze my way through. Come on, you guys.
No questions? I've never seen that before.
Teresa?
I was gonna say.
Where's Ed?
Hi, I was just wondering if you could give a small update on the capacity of the jail and as it's funded and whether there's additional capacity with additional funding, those kind of questions.
There really is no such thing as a free lunch.
So now you're asking for the second string. We do have additional capacity at the jail. We have a closed pod. It was the G pod. That pod was built in 1998 with Senate Bill 1145. It was state dollars for state sentenced offenders that were moved to the local level. That funding stream ended in 2011, and so we closed that pod. We did so by bringing on some additional beds in our transition center so that we didn't completely lose a lot of beds. So we lost about 56 beds back in 2011. But I'm happy to say we're managing the 600 beds plus or minus that we have right now between our transitional center and the jail very wisely.
Any more questions?
Especially questions someone else can answer. I really like
Thank you. My question would be about emergency management. It sounds like you've done a lot of great work with that, but we have a lot of rural communities that would be strongly affected. What's your future plan for continuing the emergency management training, getting more people involved, and really getting that word out so that the communities are educated and do have an excellent plan as we move forward?
Amy, thank you. We're working hard. I mentioned Ed Flick. This taking a look at the whole county and trying to come up with these plans. Last night, as Kevin mentioned, we were up in North Fork Road, and it kind of brought to highlight just exactly that. Ed was there and talking about them, but this just could be symbolic of many areas in the county, but they're really isolated. We found out when their power goes off, their phone goes off, and then their cells don't work at any time. And Ed brought out the fact that the kind of you especially advice to them need to be self-reliant for a couple of weeks, and unless they can get some volunteer people and organization in their area to even let the county and public safety services know that they have a problem, it is a problem. So some of it is just that awareness, but we are working hard, not just looking at the downtown area, but the entire county, and trying to be as prepared as possible. The final test could come at any time, and I don't know how we'll do.
Just want to add to that, Amy. I think the sheriff, for example, that rural area we're just talking about, we've added a deputy up there, and with Ed Flick and the deputy and his contact, actually personal contact with the citizens in that area, they are developing evacuation plans for those types of people. And those are some of the really challenging areas. If you think about that little North Fork, those of us that have been up there, if there's something blocking the road, you've got one way out unless you get to Gates Hill Road to get over. So those are things that Ed's talking to them about, being self-reliant, but also our plans to be able to go up there and help them. And Public Works does a good job. In fact, we got compliments last night that Public Works plows were up there Monday morning, by 9, 10 o'clock. Of course, some people would, like me, came down to my house at 6:30. I would have loved the plows to have been there a little earlier, but we're working on it. And Ed Flick is just a diamond in the rough, working with our Sheriff's Department as well, and Public Works.
Kevin, you might want to stay after this. Probably is going to address you more than anybody. Thank you all for all the work that you do in our county. I must say that we have a great county, and I'm really proud to live in this county, so thank you for all your work. Kevin, can you explain, because of all this crazy weather and all this rain that's coming, the question everyone seems to be is, oh, the lake's going to be full again. Yeah. And then when the lake's not full, we always say, what happened? Why isn't the lake full? Oh, yeah. Can you answer that for us?
Jonathan, you want to come up and answer this for the congressman for me? He's over there. So I watch this every day. I haven't checked today, but yesterday we were 2 feet below where we were last year. Figure that out at the lake. Huh? Right. And the reason why is the number one mission of the Army Corps in the Willamette system is what? Flood control. Okay, we all got that. That's the reason why. Right now we have a huge snowpack. We've got all this rain. If you look at this week, the snow level's coming up. They have to manage to that. And that's why I have realized, along with other people, and this was great, I just love that that Kurt was with us. Everybody was there. Army Corps is helping. But what we've got to do is design, and this is where I'd go to Sam's point on climate change. We spend all this energy trying to change the climate when we should be spending all our money and time adapting to the climate. We ought to be putting in more water storage and things like that. And our money would be wise to be invested in adapting to what's changing around us. So what we're doing up at the lake is trying to change the infrastructure of the lake to adapt to these changes that we're having. And they've got fish pressures, they've got irrigation pressures, they got, and recreation, I'm sorry, it comes at the end. So those of us that care about that can do some things. But keep your eye. There's some good apps you can put on your phone. You can check the lake level every day. I do, especially when I'm floating on it.
So Kevin always gives good answers, but I want to tell you what really happened. This isn't. No, this is a true story, and it's happened twice. 2 times when we've discussed declaring droughts, it never stops raining. I've come up with it must be the modern day rain dance, and I'm hoping maybe we can find an issue where we do kind of a partly cloudy dance. Would that be too much to ask for? But I'm not making that up. We're talking last fall, and look at it. It hasn't stopped since.
It needs to continue to rain to fill the reservoir. Sorry.
Hi. As we said here, a flood watch was issued for the Mid-Valley. So that's great. So many of the issues that you've raised don't stop at the county boundary. And they are really Mid-Valley issues. In fact, to some degree, they're Oregon issues. How are you working to build those partnerships that deal with those systems that impact us regionally? And maybe more importantly, what are the barriers you're finding to the cooperation that really is necessary?
So we've got great relationships with the other jurisdictions that we work with. That wasn't always the case. When I came to Marion County, there was kind of this rift between Salem and Marion County over a lot of different issues, and we have worked really hard to repair and restore and bring that relationship together. I mentioned the homeless initiative that we worked on. Kevin's going to talk a bit about economic development. We have a breakfast each month with Salem, a breakfast with Kaiser each month. We go to lunch in Woodburn each month. We go to Staten, Sublimity, Turner, Almsville. Those folks come together each month. So we have opportunities to get together. And like I mentioned, we go out and do the State of the County address annually and then just, often work on issues that we are collectively working on together. The other thing is that we all belong to Council of Governments, which involves the cities and the counties. Our Jobs Council is regional. Our Willamette Valley Community Health is regional. So I see other county commissioners from Yamhill County, from Polk County regularly. So Kevin's got another thing to add to that.
Yeah, in fact, I participated in a health modernization workshop just recently. We're going to work on a grant to talk about how Polk County and Marion County can work, and we already work together, but more ways to do that. On an economic development, I think of this North Santiam River Canyon, and when you're going up the canyon, you go to Mill City. If you go across the bridge, you're in another county. So Roger Nyquist is aware of what we're doing up there. And I don't see a border. We don't see borders when we go to work. We see people and we see houses. And I think we have great relationships with counties on both sides or all sides of us, except for probably Deschutes. I think that's who we hit up over in the mountains or wherever Senator Ferrioli says he represents. So we have great relationships, and we continue to work well together on all those things. But I think that our staff in this group is somebody who doesn't see borders, and I think that that's really important. And if you have an issue in another county or another jurisdiction, and I mean the guy sitting right in front of you, we meet with him once a month. I see him probably every day, and he hammers on me, and we hammer on him. And that guy right there, John Latimer has great relationships with surrounding administrators, et cetera, too. So I see Steve in the room. Steve works well with us. So I hope that answers your question.
Hi, you guys. I just, while this isn't really a PG question, it's more of a rural development question. As construction and growth happens in more rural areas of the county, one of the things that I'm noticing, especially for the farm community, is the difficulty they have in growing their farm businesses where infrastructure is limited, or where the rules of the road, so to speak, might be applied differently to a farm, or maybe they aren't, but could or should be. For example, traffic and traffic control when you're doing a special event. So I'm just kind of curious how you go about, or what things that you're thinking about, and how we allow opportunities for growth for our rural economy, but yet work with the rules, the challenges for doing that in a undeveloped area. So.
Well, I'll just start out, and then I know they'll have more to say. So a lot of what happens with the rules doesn't start with us, it starts with the state. And so the transportation rules, the land use rules, those types of things, and then we operate within that framework. So I know that I personally worked several years back on the agribusinesses. There was actually a task force that happened through the Association of Oregon Counties, and I think Sam, you were on that task force, right? And then I joined the task force, and we got a report in, and then we were able to actually expand the types of things that people can do on farmland, because it was very, very limited. There's this kind of clause that says commercial use in conjunction with farm use, and you have to have a certain proportion of your business. So, you know, can you do weddings on a farm? If you grow lavender, can you have a lavender wedding? You know, I mean, you have to find a nexus. And part of the issue that you run into there, while there's some wonderful things going on in that regard, there's also conflicts that happen. So if a farmer is told, well, you can't spray today because so-and-so's having their wedding next door in the lavender field, you know, then all of a sudden that creates some issues. So we have to figure out a structure where we can minimize the conflicts. Agriculture gets first cut at everything. I mean, so the spraying actually supersedes the lavender wedding, kind of under the state law and all of the rules as they go out. And so I think if you talk to the Farm Bureau folks, you know, they're kind of wary sometimes of these types of things moving forward. But wineries is another area where we worked very closely with the legislature to try to make sure, you know, Willamette Valley Vineyards wouldn't have that lovely restaurant that they have there if the state law hadn't changed that, and a lot of us had to go to bat to make that happen. Kevin, you want to add anything?
Well, just Teresa, specifically, no relation to you, but I know we had a issue at Easy Orchards last year with traffic issues and how our public works handled that. And those are the types of things that we have control over. So I think the bigger picture things we have control over. So we just need to be responsive to those and making sure that we're sitting down, and that if we have ag people that are doing special events, they come into our planning department. We approve many mass gatherings and those types of things throughout the year. I don't know any that we've turned down. You know, we put conditions on them. But I think if there's just better communication, we'll get better at those types of things. And, you know, everybody likes to go to Easy Orchards and do the fall fest out there. And so those are some of the types of things I think you're mentioning that we'll continue to get better at and be more responsive.
Maybe it's exhausted, but a few more. Kind of the main important things already been listed, but a couple that come to mind. The most important and basic with us is our roads, to make there's a transportation to be able to get things to the farms and produce and stuff to market, and that's the basic thing we do. What you wouldn't know, maybe it's me, but we drag our feet on some things that don't make sense. Stormwater management that wants to go all the way out into the entire county. We've kept it at a minimum to try to be reasonable. Kind of the same theme. Does it really matter? Does it accomplish something? Fine. But if it's just to control people and raise costs, no. We certainly exported extension service here, and we've expanded that availability, and that's to the benefit for all, well, agriculture in particular, but really all aspects of our county. And then we even get involved with and watch the different water issues out there. So we do a whole lot and worry about rural areas a lot.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much. I think that last question was a great feed into as we're adjourning today, but I heard infrastructure, I heard partnership, communication, all to help grow communities and build jobs. I think that's exactly what we're about, both here at SEDCOR and I think all of us in this room. So with that, I'd like to thank you one more time as we adjourn.